let's take a look at the dies. Even if you are, even if you're like, oh, I don't really use dies, you want to watch this because these are really cool dies. These have been in the works. Well, they've been long awaited and they've been in the works for a while. So this is another, these two that I've had probably for about 2 months. We're just waiting for them, waiting for the right time, which was January. So if you've been with me a long time, you may remember this guy, the library card stamp. This was one of the very first stamps that I released, the library card stamp. And the reason I released a library card stamp, as with most of my products, they're based on necessity, right? Where I'm like, hey, you know what? I like to work with library cards a lot. And these are some of my older traveler's notebooks where I like to work with library cards. So library pocket, that's July of 2019. Library pocket, library card. And when I was using library cards, I'm like, well, shoot, they're great. I love to journal on them and tuck them in the little pockets for kind of an interactive, but all those things meant for a library card are kind of getting in the way. So that's bugging me. That doesn't really work. So when I started doing stamps, I thought, well, I can make my own library card. Just like a library card, the exact same size, but it doesn't have to have all those pesky words and columns that kind of get in the way. So that was the idea behind releasing that library card stamp. So for a while, I was using pre-made library cards and pre-made library cards and pre-made library pockets. Here's another little example. Sometimes it's just decorative and there's really nothing on it. This was from, I don't even remember. This is one of my Traveler's Notebook kits from a couple of years ago. Then when I started doing my own, I use these a lot in my travel themed Traveler's Notebooks. There we go. So this was the trip that Nick and I did to Ireland and Scotland last year. And so each little section for each different country has a little library pocket in it and a library card where I'm kind of just explaining what's going on. So for years, and I can say years because we've had those little guys, that stamp for years, people have been saying, oh my goodness, please. Okay, maybe they didn't see my, oh my goodness, maybe that was just me. Can we please have a die for the library card? And I said, really? Can't you just cut it? And then I thought, okay, Layle, don't say that. If people want a die and they'll buy the die, then you should do a die. So that is one of the two new dies. It is a library card die, and it just basically you stamp and you cut it out. So I'm going to do a little something here in a minute and just show you a little project that I made today, a mini project. And then I'm going to kind of recreate it so you can kind of see how it all works. But that is the library card die. It goes with the library card. So you can buy the library card die by itself, or if you don't have the library card stamp yet, you can buy those two together as a bundle. And when they're bundled, they are discounted. All right, so library card die meant to cut out the library card stamp. That's the first die. Second die is a library pocket. All right, library pocket. Now, this has caused a little bit of confusion. So after I had probably 4 or 5 emails this morning, I changed the product image. So the product on the image on the website has little words right there and explains kind of what's going on here. This is a library pocket die. It's called a library pocket die. It is not a die for the library card. Even though you look at that and go, well, isn't that the die for the library card? It is not. That is the pocket. This is the back of the pocket. All right, so it's the library pocket die, that 2-piece set. All right, so what I'm going to show you is what I made earlier this evening using the library card stamp and the library card die and the library pocket dies. I made this cute little library pocket and this little library card that goes in it. And I used the brand new Toddler Time collection from 49 & Market. So now that we talked about this piece right here is the back. That is the back. This piece right here is the pocket. And this guy is the die for the library card stamp. All right. So what I thought I would do, I thought I would kind of take some of the same pieces or similar pieces and just walk you through how to use that if you'd like to see. I have all 3 dies on my little magnetic stand over here. I linked this in the description of the video as well if you haven't seen me use this. This is a nice just little stand that sits right on your work surface to kind of hold all your dies as you are working. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, we'll get my little machine out here, turn it on. This is the Anna Griffin Empress Mini. So all 3 of these dies work in the Mini, and it's just smaller. It's just a smaller opening there. Really doesn't matter what kind of die cutting machine you have. You could have a manual crank. It could be really wide. It could be narrow. It could be an electronic one like this. They're all the same. It's just how much effort you have to put in to make it work. How about that? Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I've pre-cut some papers, and I cut those papers from Toddler Time. Toddler Time just came in, so I haven't had a chance to do an unboxing of it yet. We will do that, but I tell you guys, this collection is so stinking cute. It's kind of reminiscent of like a vintage Dick and Jane, kind of art, and yeah, anyhow. All right, so I cut this little guy, and I can put this on 2 different ways. If I put it on this way, it is a little bit too wide. It overhangs the plate. And this is how I did it the first time. And I'm like, ooh, wait a minute, that doesn't work so well. If I turn it, then it fits exactly on the plate. All right, so just kind of with your die cut machine, you probably know your die cut machine better than I do. So when you're die cutting, you're making a sandwich. Here is the bottom, there's my bottom plate. The bottom plate in a sandwich is kind of like if you're making a bologna sandwich, the plates are kind of like your bread, okay? So that's the bottom. That's my nice piece of Wonder Bread. I don't eat Wonder Bread anymore. Like when I was a little kid, bologna and Kraft Single. So that's the bread. That's the bottom plate. Then we have the magnet. So the magnetic mat, or the mat, some are magnetic, some aren't. This is kind of like your bologna, okay? So there's my bologna right there. That goes next. Then I have my, let's call this my lettuce. And then this is my cheese, my Kraft Single. So basically in my sandwich, I'm just building all the layers. This is going face down. So on the dies, if you haven't really worked with dies before, it is raised. So it's raised around the outside, and it's also raised there so that those pieces are going to kind of score and fold into themselves. All right, there we go. And I'm putting then my top plate, which is basically my top of my sandwich, my second piece of Wonder Bread. All right, so there's my stack. I'm loading that into the opening in the machine, and I'm saying run, and it's going to right through. And you kind of heard that. There's a really heavy kind of roller inside that is applying some very immense pressure that is pressing those plates together, which makes that metal die actually cut out the paper. All right, so pull that guy off. There is my pocket. So it is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but in those little angles right here, these little angles, those pieces, these are all scored, so they're folding inward. So if I fold like that, and then I fold the other side like that, and I actually want to fold the bottom piece first, and then have those 2 side pieces fold in next. Now, this part is very important, okay? Very, very important. You do not want to put your adhesive here here and here and stick it down. If you do that, you have now made your pocket too narrow and your library card will not fit. Now, here's the other thing. You can use this pocket die for anything. It doesn't have to be a library card. So maybe you want it to be narrower, but it is not meant, if you want to use it with a library card, it is not meant for the adhesive to go there and it to stick like that. It's meant for the adhesive to go there and there and there. And then that is sticking onto the base or the back of the pocket. So there's our pocket to start. The next piece that we have is, I'll use the orange. And with the orange, the piece I am looking for, when you look at these two, you'll see one is bigger than the other. If you think about a library card needing to go inside of something, you need the smaller piece to go into the bigger one. So that's how you know which is which. So we want the bigger one because this is the base for our pocket. Do the same thing here. Now, if you pay attention to the way that you cut your paper that you are creating the base from and how you place your die on the paper, you can actually end up with a frame. Now, I wasn't paying attention when I did that, but when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's a great frame. I could use that for something. So you could end up with your pocket base, but you could also end up with a frame as long as you're kind of paying attention to how wide you're doing that. All right, same thing. We're building our sandwich again, and we'll put our top piece of Wonder Bread on there. Doesn't matter, like I said, doesn't matter what kind of die cutting machine you have. You could have the manual hand crank. It works just as well. They all work the same. Just how much effort that you want to basically take. All righty. So there is the back of my pocket. And there's my little frame now that I have left over. Bella Stella said she loves that there is a score line. Yes. That was important, right? Because it makes it really easy then for you to fold it. Crafty865 said, each time you put a die through the machine, does the top plate get imprinted or scratched? It's totally normal. It is totally normal because if you look at, you're either going to end up with your magnetic mat imprinted or you're going to end up with your plates imprinted. The plates eventually on any die cutting machine, you have to replace them eventually because they just get so worn out by going through like so many die cuts. But I couldn't tell you how many that is. It's probably thousands. I don't know. But the plates are, they definitely are replaceable and need to be replaced after, a period of time. All right. So that is the base. And now there's the back side of my pocket. I am going to just grab some double-sided score tape. So we'll put a little bit there. Remember how I said before, we're putting it on the outside, not on the inside. If we put it on the inside, then it is going to close up our pocket and we're just going to have a narrower pocket than maybe we want. I recommend using some kind of double-sided like score tape, a little bit of stronger tape, because you want that to stay, right? Especially if you're pulling things in and out of the pocket, you want to have something that's nice and strong. A little tip that my friend Joey that works for Photoplay taught me. When you are working with double-sided tape like that, it's really sticky, right? That's what we like about it. But it's really sticky. And what we don't like about it being really sticky is that it's really sticky. So if we get it on somewhere crooked and it's crooked, then it's pretty much crooked and we've got to deal with. So deal with it. If you just reveal, I don't know, maybe a third, a quarter, up to you. You see how I've only revealed a little bit of sticky there and there and there. That makes it easy for me to kind of do this and move it around. I could never do that if I had pulled off all the backers, right? So I can kind of move this around and get it to exactly where I want it. And then press down on the parts where the adhesive has been revealed and then gently pull out those little pieces. Oopsie, sometimes you lose them. Like I just lost that little guy. Let's see if I can get him back out again. I wasn't paying attention to make sure that my little escape hatch stuck out. Okay, there we go. So now I have my cute pocket. What's fun about the pockets, obviously they're one size, but you can change them. If you needed a short pocket, then you just cut that piece off and make this piece shorter. If you wanted, you could take like a little half circle, or not a half circle. You could take a circle punch. Now, if you wanted to do this, it's recommended that you would do this before you punch before you did your little thing here, but before you put all that together. But you could make a little notch there so your little card can be seen. Oh gosh, J-Lo, never. Well, I shouldn't say never. J-Lo said, Layle, when will you have your own die cut machine? Never. Never, never, never. I have zero plans to do that. There's a lot of really good ones on the market. There's probably some that aren't so good either, but still work fine. So no, that would be a huge investment. A huge investment. Linda May, could the pocket flaps reach around to the back? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to deconstruct for a minute here. They most definitely could. So, look at what I do for you guys. I mean, this is just my little sample, just teasing. All right, so could we do this? Yes, we could do that there, and then that there, and then that there. So yes, that totally works as well. Okay, you could do that either way. And then that you would adhere on your piece. Okay, so next up, I stamped a library card. So with that, I would then take my smaller piece, the library card die, right? And we'll just do that same thing again. I actually stamped 4 of these. I had paper out, I had the stamp out, I had the ink out. I might as well stamp a bunch while I'm at it because I find, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I don't want to use my stamps, my dies and things like that if I have to get it all out. But if I already have it out, I might as well. Stamp a bunch. So I stamped like 4 or 5. All right, so same thing. We're just going to run that little guy through. Oh, Reggie's going to come in and say hello. Kelly's Creative Dreams. Good point. She said by placing a pocket sides on the front or in the back, you get a little extra room in your pocket. So you can do it either way, for sure. All right, so now put that little guy back, and there we are. There is my library card. And my library card just slides right there. Now, it's not going to want to slide in here very well because I ripped it apart. Oh my gosh, Reggie, come on, buddy. I know you wanted to say hi, but now you say hi. Did you want to do some die cutting? Can you get in your bucket, please? Get in your bucket. Come on, get in your bucket. Get in your bucket. Come on, go get in your bucket, Reg. Sorry, guys. Yeah, he wanted to say hello, right? Come on, dude, your tail's in the way. Sometimes, Linda May, sometimes we need extra room in our pockets, right? Sometimes we do. So this little guy, you can use, you don't have to put a library card in there. If you set just the pocket, that is a great little place to add journaling, to put photos in. So remember when I showed you the, in the year in review project, I showed you a little pocket I did that had photos, right? You could do something like that in your little pocket that we just made. So the library card is kind of a bonus. All right, so what I did for this guy, when I put him together, I took a piece of pattern paper from Toddler Time. So I was really looking at I was looking for a piece of paper that would give me a lot. Oh, it's this guy. So a lot of the decor was already done on my pocket for me, right? All of that. So when I did that pocket, I basically placed my die right there. So my pocket had all of that decorating on it already. I added a couple of ephemera pieces, added a rub-on top of that, and that's just a super cute little easy pocket. And then my stamped library card, I inked the edges. I stamped This Made Me Smile and then put a little butterfly rub-on from Toddler Time on that. And there is just that cute. And really probably what took me the longest time was figuring out what product I wanted to use. on that. Carol said, what size is the library pocket? So Carol, it is, it will not fit in a 3x4 pocket page. It is very specifically made to be the size of an actual library card and actual library pocket. So let me, hang on. Let me tell you what that pocket ends up. The finished size of the pocket is 3 3/8 inches wide. The bottom part of the pocket is 3.5, and the back side of the pocket is 5.5. So basically, almost 3.5 by almost 5.5, and that is the size of an actual. Actually, I think that one's a little bit taller, maybe. And then your library card, that is standard library card, that stamp. So that is 3 1/8 by 5. Nancy said, so nice to add embellishments to the library pocket. Yeah, just to kind of, I mean, look at it really, and most of that was based on the paper that I chose, right? That design, a lot of that decorating was from the paper I chose. But even if I didn't have something like that, like I had originally started out with this guy, but something super plain, but then that's when I could start bringing in, you know, my cute little chipboard or die cuts or, you know, whatever I wanted to do with that. All right, friends. So the different bundles. I said that this is, so you can buy the stamp a la carte, and the stamp's been out for years. And then you can buy that as a bundle, the library card and the library card die. You can buy the library card die a la carte if you already have the stamp. This is another bundle, the library card die and the library pocket die. So that is a bundle. I think there's 4 different bundles. This is also a bundle. The library card stamp, the library card die, and the library pocket die. So there is Nolana. One of the design team members has already made a project with the new library card stamp, library card die. Well, stamp's been around for a while. For the library card die and the library pocket die. So if you go to any of those products, the stamp or any of the dies in the bundles on the website, you'll see a fun project that she made using that. And I bring that up because someone said something about vellum. She used a piece of vellum as her library card, and it turned out so cool. She talks in the blog post. So if you go to laylebymail.com and click on blog, you'll see it there. But she explained how she did it on vellum. She used, she had a little bit of embossing. So she stamped, she used embossing powder. So she stamped the stamp, I think with like a gold ink, and then put gold embossing powder. I don't know. I don't really use embossing powder. So she probably stamped it with special ink and then put embossing powder and then heated it up and so forth. But it looks really cool. It looks really cool. Totally out of my realm of whatever I do. But Nancy, she didn't have to adhere it because it was her library card. It was her library card that she did the vellum. And it just slid right into her pocket. So very cool. You guys should go take a look at that. It's really fun.